Hello, and thanks for being with us at the Florida Agricultural Museum in Palm Coast, where with the help of historian James Fiske, we'll tour the Clark House and grounds to see what daily chores took place to keep a Florida farm family thriving. I've heard this referred to as a cracker house, and I notice it has a nice big front porch. Is that part of the design, and how did this get that name?
Okay, yes ma'am. Yeah, the cracker house has always had a wide porch on it, and the term cracker house, the term cracker actually came from back during the territorial period of Florida, from 1821 to 1845. The term cracker came from the pioneers who were rounding up the free-ranging cattle, and in order to do that, they had to use whips, and cracking the whips in the air is where the term came from.
Okay, so the cracker house then was occupied by people that had cattle. Well, I'd like to go inside.
Sure.
It's very cozy in here, and I guess this is the all-purpose room.
There was very little staying inside the house. A lot of the work got done out on the porch and, of course, in the kitchen. This was the eating place and the sleeping place.
And I suppose that this room is pretty breezy because of the way this cracker house is built. You've got your nice big front porch, and then you have the uncovered porch in the back.
Or what they call a dog trot. And that's where the dogs would hang out, especially dinner time. They smelled the food. They'd be up there just wanting to get some scraps. But it's also elevated off the ground. So during the summertime, this stays very cool because the hot air from me is rising up, and there's air vents between the walls and the roof. You've got the windows open, and then you've got the elevation off of the floor. So you've got flow-through ventilation through here all the time. And actually during the summertime, this does stay somewhat cooler than outside, even when it's 98 degrees.
Well, that's certainly important here in Florida. I noticed that in this room, it looks like maybe the woman of the house does quite a bit of work also. There's is that a loom?
Oh, yes.
So she's working on producing some fabric.
Yes, ma'am.
And now this would be for wool?
Correct.
And so I guess a sheep would be
right.
Part of the stock. And also this chest, I suppose a Hope chest would store the winter blankets. And there are no closets in the house. And then there are a couple of bedrooms.
There's no bathroom in here except for the chamber pots at night. And then the first thing in the morning, the youngest of the children would have to take the chamber pots out to the outhouse and dump those. You use the chamber pots because at night you can't see anything. There's no electricity, and you don't know what's outside the house and beyond the fence. So that's why the chamber pots were used until in the morning.
So it's a safety measure not to go outside when it's dark. I suppose a few pieces of furniture were store-bought, but others were not, like maybe the table?
Table was definitely handmade. A lot of the furniture back then, a lot of it would have been handmade because there weren't a lot of stores nearby. In fact, the nearest of the stores would be 20 miles away.
Yeah, and no delivery truck.
No delivery truck.
Get that horse and buggy and
right.
Make a special trip. I've taken a special interest in this rug. What's it made of?
Okay, yes, ma'am. This is a cowhide from a cracker cow. The cracker cow actually came over here 500 years ago with the Spaniards. In 1521, Don Juan Ponce de Leon brought the very first cattle over here from Spain. He brought with him 7 head of cattle, and he landed on the other side of what was called La Florida.
And the cracker cow's from Spain. And then has he bred with other local cows?
Eventually, yes, but right now, one thing that we have done here at the Florida Agriculture Museum is keep 3 or 4 of the cracker cows on the farm because we want to definitely tell their story.
So they're quite pure bred. Along with the cracker cows, how about the pigs?
Well, the pigs were also brought over by the Spanish, and unfortunately, the hogs that we have around here right now, and we do actually have a wild hog here on the property. When he came here, a lady found him alongside the road. The lady got a hold of him, took him home, kept him for a couple weeks, brought him out here, and he'll live his life out here. But that's what a wild pig looks like. These are descendants of the pigs that came from Spain, and they're an invasive species. They are definitely considered an invasive species, and they were brought over by the Spaniards as well, for food.
With good intentions.
With good intentions, for feed.
But
for food,
they adapted too well.
Too well.
We'll head out and take a look at the dog Trot Porch. James, it's so airy and big out here. I imagine that a lot of work took place out here, as well as relaxation, but you've got all sorts of different things happening. Well, I guess one of the activities on this porch would be laundry.
Oh, absolutely.
And with laundry, you've got to have water, so you've got a couple of problems there. So pre-electricity, I'm wondering, was this just used for percussion, or was this have another function?
That was how you wash the clothes right there. That's the old washboard. And of course you got to have water. Now, they didn't have running water here. They had 3 methods of getting water. And so it was near creeks and lakes, but they had a well that was not on the porch like this is. But they were able to have water come from when it rained. We've got cypress gutters up here that the rainwater goes into the tubs or the barrels out here. And then there's a barrel pump that's out in the yard. And they would dip water out of that barrel pump as well.
When it comes time to wash the children, what water do we use?
Well, we're going to be using the water that comes from the rain gutters into the barrels here. And this would be the rainwater that they would be bathing in.
That's brilliant. So the water from the rain trickles down the roof, goes through the cypress gutter, and is funneled right down there into the big barrel.
Exactly.
So this is not the drinking water, but it's just perfectly good for bathing.
And there's one on each side of the porch here.
Oh, okay.
As well.
Good. Now, when you want water for the chickens, where do you get that water?
You would get that from the barrel well, which is in the yard.
Okay. Barrel well?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go look at the barrel well. This is the barrel well, and this is the water we'll use for the chickens, and we'll just drop it down into the well. James will lower it. We'll get our water, and it's time for the chickens. There you go, guys. James, it's laundry day. Make it happen.
All right, we got to have some water. And hopefully we'll get some water. Oh, looks like we need to prime the pump.
You know, I've heard that expression, priming the pump. That just lubricates it a little bit to get things going. And
That
then
gets things going right there.
All right. Woo. Yeah. Oh, I'm ready. Okay, all I need is that lye soap. All right. Well, I'm sure that's quite clean now.
And then a little rinse water.
Rinse water. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's spotless. Perfect. Now I'll put it in the dryer. We're standing in the kitchen part of the cracker house. This is the part we talked about that's detached, but connected through the dog trot breezeway. In here, we've got a nice wood-burning stove, so you make your biscuits and your pies. Now, they would can up their own food, wouldn't they? To get through the winter, you'd have to have a lot of experience in knowing how to do that properly.
They grew their own gardens, and they would do a lot of canning because, again, you don't have a store right down the road.
You have to be very self-reliant. Now, the pie safe, is that for pies only? Is there actually a lock on it, or how do you keep those pies safe?
That is to keep the critters out of the pie, plus some little hands out of the pies as well.
Pie protection until the right time. Okay. And now you bring your eggs in here, and then you're just ready to go. You've
got an egg basket up there to put the eggs in.
Mm-hmm. I guess you could have a quick meal out here, maybe. Would you have breakfast out here, or would it always be served in the house?
Primarily on the dinner table. Back then, they always ate at the dinner table.
Now, standing here in the kitchen, I can see all the way through the house to the front door.
Correct.
Doesn't that have a special name?
Definitely has a special name. That's a shotgun cracker house.
A shotgun cracker house, going from front to back. Well, it's been a great tour. Thanks, James.
Thank you all very much.
We'll say goodbye for now. We loved having your company. It's always much more fun when you're with us to see the sights and enjoy some time together. Thank you so much for watching Painting and Travel.